Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Wealth, Health, and Self-Care Summit. I am Charlene Reinhart, and I will be your host for this summit. If you have any questions or comments, please engage with us. Let us know. I have my phone on hand, and the speakers also have their phone on hand. So comment in the chat below and make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss part 2 of the Wealth, Health, and Self-Care Summit. This first part, we'll start off with our keynote, Walking in Joy Again, learning how to walk in joy again with Letricia Loftin Russell. Then we'll move into our workshop with Simone Mouchette, who will take us through the healing process and show us how to heal through trauma storytelling. Then we'll wrap up our first part with mental health advocates who will share their story and resources that help them on their journey. I'm so excited that you are joining us. Remember, subscribe right now to the Wealthy Women Daily channel. And before we move into our speakers, I want to thank the Solutions Journalism Network, SJN, for funding our reporting for Solutions Journalism on the South Side of Chicago and for making it possible for us to birth this event, the Wealth, Health, and Self-Care Summit. I also want to know who's in the chat and where you are from. So type your city and state in the chat. Let us know. We want to engage with you. And follow our speakers as well. I'm on Instagram at Charlene Reinhart, but you can follow our speakers because you never know who you will meet on your journey. The person that you prayed for could be right here on this summit. So make sure you subscribe, follow, do your research to find the best fit for you. I am going to give you some time to get your water. I have my water bottle here. Get your computer. Do your shakes. You've probably been sitting down for a while. Really want you to use this time to take care of you. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds. I'm going to give our speakers a chance to get backstage so that they can start their presentations. All right, before we bring up our keynote speaker, I want to set the tone for today's Wealth, Health, and Self-Care Summit. I don't want you to think that you are here just to listen. No, you are here to take action and make changes. So we are going to start with those essentials right now before we even get started. I have Dr. Sheniqua Johnson with us. And I have her here today because I have been so inspired by her walks. She has been consistently promoting her walks on Facebook, and I believe we need to start being intentional about the things we do every morning to focus on our Wealth, Health, and Self-Care Summit. So, Dr. Sheniqua Johnson, CEO of A Better You, how are you?
I am blessed. Thank you so much for including me in this power-packed conference. Listen, I know that your audience is about to be blessed. They're about to get their bellies full of all of this information. But I am so glad that you asked me to join you because I just want to show people that this is practical stuff that we can do. This is stuff that we can implement. We can incorporate it in our day-to-day life, even with your busyness. Now, I am the queen of busyness. I used to say that I am but I've learned that we have to make certain that we are empowering ourselves and that we are taking charge. So even in your busyness, you can make certain that you are putting this on your to-do list, because we all got a to-do list, right? We all got our calendars, our agenda. I was telling a friend of mine the other day, child, I don't go too far away from this calendar. I mean, I got to have my planner at my side. If I'm in the living room, it's in the living room with me. If I'm in the bedroom, it's in the bedroom with me, because I have to stay ready. So when I write it down, I am then committed to doing it. And walking is one of those things that I have committed to doing. I am committed to doing it.
Yes, so let's talk about that because some of us don't get a chance to walk all the time. Maybe we are working remotely at home, or
Mhm.
maybe we're just going to work in our cars at the desk. How do we start this? How did you get started on your walking journey?
Now, I got started on my walking journey. I started walking the day after I fired my employer.
Ooh,
Now,
ooh.
I don't want everybody to run out and fire their employer, right? Because they're our best investors sometimes. So I'm not saying that you need to get to that point, but sometimes you have to be so intentional and you've got to declare what it is that you're going to do. And what I was saying is that my health and my well being is of the utmost importance. I know you want me to be great at, because I was a corporate facilitator and trainer. But I know you want me to be great with that. But in order for me to be great at that, I got to be great to myself.
Yes.
So I found that it was hard, and I don't want people to think that I just quit my job just because they wouldn't let me walk. No, no, no. I was not putting myself first. And I went through a season after having surgery. My body just was not recovering the way I had thought I was going to recover. I thought a week after I was going to be back up running around the country, and that wasn't the case. So I had to literally reprioritize my well-being, and part of that reprioritization was saying that, you know what? I need to start my day. I need to get back focused on my morning routines. And my morning routines included me walking, it included me praying, it included me reading my word to make certain that I was charged with everything that I needed to get started. And it just so happened that I released my employer because I felt as though I was required to come back to work and to perform at top function when my body was saying otherwise. My body was saying, no, Sheniqua, you still need to spend some time with me. So I had to make the choice, and the choice was made. I relinquished the position, but what I did gain was I gained a better relationship with me. And it starts with you being intentional, right? You got to say what you mean and you got to mean what you say. So if you say you're going to start your day with a walk, then you need to do it.
Yes, make it a part of your to-do list. The first
Yeah,
thing on your to-do
that's
list.
it.
I had to start doing that. Now I do 30-minute walks every day. If I can, at least 30 minutes. Sometimes I try to get my 10,000 steps in on the
Uh-huh.
Fitbit or try to be an overachiever because I want to make sure I'm overachieving where it
Yes.
matters, right? So
Yes.
anybody out there, start doing your walks, right? Start doing something. If you can't run, walk.
Walk.
Start with those walks, release all those toxins,
Yes.
right? Get your body going and ready for what's ahead. So that's the purpose of the Wealth, Health, and Self Care Summit so that you can start to put you first. But another piece of this health puzzle is making sure you have your water. We always have our water. So if you don't have your water with you, go get your water, right?
Yes.
Go get your
Yes.
water right now. And Shaniqua, do you know how much water we should be drinking every day?
Listen, as long as you don't have any restrictions, because I'm a registered nurse by profession, I always tell people, I understand some people have certain medical conditions where they cannot drink an abundance of water, but we should have anywhere from 8 to 10 glasses of water per day. 8 to 10. And sometimes it's so hard. Oh my goodness. But what I
Yes.
find is that if I start early, like from the moment I get up, I'm then able to get it all in and stop. I have a cutoff time. Like I got to stop by 5 p.m. 5, 6 p.m. because otherwise I'm gonna be, in the bathroom all night long and I don't want my sleep disturbed. But if I start my day, and I usually use a 32-ounce glass, and I usually fill that up with water first thing in the morning. And this is after my walk. So once I do my walk, I come back home. And what I really like to start my day with is a cup of warm water. Sometimes it's tea, other times it's just simply warm water, because that does help to flush all of the mucus and all of the impurities from overnight. So starting your day with the nice, warm cup of water, hot cup of water. You could put a little lemon, a little lime in it if you want. And then once I've returned from my walk, that's when I shift into my big gulp and I have my big cup of water. And one of the supplements because I'm a supplement queen, one of the supplements that I love to put in it is a liquid IV. And what that does, it's, for lack of a better term, it's like an optimizer. So it really power packs the water that you're drinking so that your cells get all of the benefits and all of the goodness from it. So I start my day. So after the warm cup of water, then I go into the shift of my 32 ounces of a nice, cool, refreshing drink. And then I keep it next to me so that I remind myself, right? Because if you put it and it's hiding, you're not going to know it. But once you see it, it's in your view, it reminds you that you do need to drink your water. And if you're like me, you're taking supplements, or maybe you have medications that you have to take, drink it with a full glass of water. So don't just, get the pills down and say, oh, I'm going to put the water down. No, drink the full glass. And that's a way of forcing yourself to get at least 1, 2, 3 cups of water in per day, and then building from that.
Oh, those are good tips, because I used to forget to drink water, and I sometimes do. So I had to schedule it. I use Slack to schedule my water breaks every day to make sure I incorporate it into my plan. So thanks for that. There are so many studies about how much water you should be drinking. And I've seen, as a general rule of thumb, you should try to drink between half an ounce and an ounce of water for each pound you weigh every day. But you know what? Always talk to your healthcare provider, because your situation can be different. And like Dr. Sheniqua said, everybody may not be able to handle the same amount based on their health. So talk to your healthcare provider. And with all of the recommendations throughout this summit, make sure you are discussing this with your health team. You need a team in place to make sure you are your best self. Well, before we kick off this conference, this summit, which I'm so excited to do, Dr. Sheniqua, are there any parting words that you want to leave us with?
Yes, you can do it. You can do it, and I want you to do it in your own lane. I don't want you to do it the way Dr. Sheniqua does it. I don't want you to do it the way Charlene is doing. I want you to do it the way you can do it. And if it means you start out small, then so be it. So if you're only able to get in a 15-minute walk, so be it. Right? Don't beat yourself up. And one of the things that I've been saying lately is don't judge somebody's middle, right? Don't look at somebody's middle in their middle of their work and their success. And you're looking at their middle and you now start judging your beginning. We all have to start somewhere. So I want you to start where you are, and I want you to start implementing all of these strategies that you're getting, write them down. And I want you to start to build a plan to step by step, moment by moment, start to incorporate them in your life, and you will definitely become a better you.
Yes, I'm so excited already. Thank you, Dr. Sheniqua Johnson, CEO of A Better You, for helping us kick off the Wealth, Health, and Self-Care Summit.
Woo! I'm ready. Let's get it.
Yes. Up next, we have Letricia Loftin Russell, a true pageant enthusiast and a dedicated leader in women's ministry. She's the founder of Little Miss US of A pageant and the visionary behind MinistHer, a platform celebrating women in ministry through podcast, inspirational apparel, and scripture-based scented soy candles. I feel a sense of relaxation just saying that. Now, with a rich background in pageantry, Letricia has worn many hats, including reigning as world's perfect classic woman, serving as a pageant judge and coach, and most importantly, being a proud pageant mom to her daughter, who reigned as Miss Hampton University. She is judged and coached for the Miss America organization, Miss United States, and numerous others, and even had the honor of directing Cynthia Bailey's Miss Renaissance pageant with a special cameo on Real Housewives of Atlanta. As a graduate of Hampton University and Maryland Theological Seminary, Letricia is currently a professor at the Maryland Theological Seminary. You are in for a treat today. She's here to inspire you to the next level of your joy. She's going to help us to rediscover joy in our lives with her talk, Learning to Walk in Joy Again. Help me welcome Letricia Loftin Russell.
Wow, thank you so much. Can you come with me all the time? And, yes, come with me all the time. Thank you so much, Charlene. When I say that this is truly an honor, I really want you to understand that it is. And I appreciate the opportunity to be a part of your Wealth, Health, and Self-Care Summit. So, family, how you doing out there? I am so honored and so delighted to share this time and share this space with each and every one of you. And so I know that you've received so many great nuggets. And my hope is that I have something to share that you can take with you to make life even better. So let's jump right in, shall we? So I want you to learn to walk again. I want you to learn not only just to walk, but I want you to learn to walk in joy again. So 2020, and I'm just going to be transparent, 2020 was a nightmare for me. And not, in the way that many of you would think, because yes, the world was walking in a pandemic. And while others were fighting to be isolated from one another, my sister was fighting for her life in reference to metastatic breast cancer. And so unexpectedly, it really turned for the worse. And she went into the hospital. And of course, we couldn't visit her or anything because of the pandemic. And the Lord called her home. And so, I thought that that would just break me into pieces. Then to find out being at home, I walked downstairs just 5 months later, thinking that my 21-year-old daughter was meditating, to realize, family, that she wasn't meditating, but she had been called home to glory as well. And so you can imagine the devastation when you just walk downstairs thinking that, your 21-year-old is just enjoying a time of meditation, to find out that it's something different. And so, of course, EMTs come, and unfortunately, it's too late for them to do anything. And so because of her age and because of there being no explanation as to why, forensics had to come, detectives had to come. There were police cars all up and down my street. And so on top of grieving and being devastated, you have to deal with questioning and things of that sort. And then also my 21-year-old was a social influencer. She had 250,000 followers. And so her followers were coming hard for my daughters and I, my other two daughters and I, to tell them, be honest with us, tell us what happened. But we were unable to share because we ourselves did not know. And it took months for the medical examiner to come to the conclusion that she suffered from cardiac arrhythmia, which is when a vessel in your heart is weak and it explodes all of a sudden. So there is no pain, thank the Lord, but devastated that word doesn't even describe it. So when I tell you, I know what it feels like to feel like you just want to be in a dark hole for the rest of your life. You don't ever feel like you're going to be happy again. You don't ever feel like you're going to smile again. Even if someone texts me good morning, I was upset. Good morning. What's good about it? Like, I didn't even want to hear good morning. I didn't want to hear hello. I didn't want to hear anything. And this is after growing up as a PK. For those of you who don't know what a PK is, it's a preacher's kid. And so I had been a preacher's kid all my life, and, really had a strong foundation in reference to my relationship with God, but didn't want to hear any of that, because I felt like I had prayed so hard. I had been positive through my sister's illness. I was positive through it all. And the audacity for my sister to be called home, and the audacity for my daughter to be called home unexpectedly, and to have social media and news media to attack me and my children during that time of grief, saying that we were hiding something, all of it was absolutely devastating. So, don't know what you've walked through. Don't know what you are walking through. Life is hard. As the children said, life be lifing, and it's absolutely not a joke. So first of all, when you encounter somebody, be careful how you treat them, because of course, even while I'm walking through this, of course, I still have to go to the store. I still have to work. We still have to do all of these things, and I still have to interact with people who have no idea what I'm walking through, meaning the grief and the heartache. So I'm just saying, when you see someone, no matter what they look like, lipstick on, earrings done, hair done, hair cut, all of that, it does not mean that they are not walking in hurt. So now let's talk about what you do when you just want to be in a dark hole, because all of us unfortunately have been there. So you're in this dark hole, don't want to be bothered. Every text message bothers you. Unfortunately, a lot of times when this happens, people really don't know what to say. So some of the things that they say may really be triggering or make you angry. And so you have to decide within you what you're going to do. I was also petrified, I have to admit. I was scared that when my sister went on to glory, that it would tear apart my other sister and my parents. I was scared when my daughter was called to glory, that it would tear apart my relationship with my husband and with my children. But you have to make sure to do what you can absolutely do to make sure that that doesn't happen. Life has already taken something away from you. Don't allow it to take everything else, but you have to make that decision. So, first, you got to army crawl. You know how a baby does? So we're all excited, moms and dads. We're excited when the baby begins to move, and you can tell the baby wants to move forward, and the baby's doing that army crawl. And so, after the army crawl, the baby is able to push up just a little bit and land on their knees and land on their hands, and they're able to actually crawl. In life, sometimes you got to do the army crawl. If all you can do is get up in the morning, get out the bed and take a shower, celebrate that. Don't act like anything is too small. That's your way to be able to walk again. That's your way to be able to find joy again. Celebrate everything small, because they end up adding up to be something big. Celebrate everything that's small. Celebrate the fact that you were able to eat a meal, even if it was just a couple of bites, because sometimes when you're walking through tremendous hurt or heartache, you don't have an appetite. So celebrate the fact that you could have chicken broth that day. Celebrate the fact that you could take down a couple of sips of Gatorade. All of it is heading towards you walking. All of it is heading towards your restored joy. Don't take it lightly. Take it all in and celebrate it. Celebrate even when you receive the text that says good morning. And although you may feel like it is absolutely not a good morning, the fact that someone is thinking of you and loves you enough and cares for you enough and adores you enough that they desire to reach out even when their life is hectic, even when life is busy, that also is something to celebrate. Some people have absolutely no one in their lives to love on, to care for, who cares about them, who adores them. So all of that is something to celebrate. That's part of your army crawl. That's part of your push-up crawl. And then if you have to stay there a minute, it's okay. Don't feel ashamed about it. A baby doesn't feel ashamed. A baby is celebrating the fact that it is moving. Family, we got to move. So we army crawl. Then we pull up crawl. And then it's time to find something and pull up. You know how a toddler would find absolutely anything and pull up? Like you have to watch what's around them because you don't know what they'll pull up on. Anything that's around you, find the strength to pull on it. Pull on it. Pull on any type of joy that you can have. If you have a favorite song and back in the day that song used to make you want to dance, then you play that song. And although today you may not want to dance to that song, it will trigger something to remind you of the joy. It will trigger something to remind you of the strength. Watch a favorite TV show. For me, I love Good Times, and people think I'm crazy, but Good Times cracks me up. And so find that thing that brought you joy as a child. A lot of times we have to reach back into our inner child and find her again. Find her again, talk to her again, play with Legos, find a coloring book, whatever it is that you need to do that's going to bring you some joy, even if it's for a few minutes, then that is what you do. And that is called your pull up. And family, after you pull up and you're on your knees, oh, honey, it's not far to go after being on your knees. But if you have to stay on your knees for a little while, then you stay there. And celebrate the fact that you're no longer army crawling. Celebrate the fact that you're no longer on a push-up crawl, that you're now on your knees. Celebrate it. That's walking towards your joy. That's getting you closer to the walk. That's getting you closer to your joy again. And after you pull up, honey, find something nearby to pull up even more where you can rest on your feet. And even if you need to lean on something to rest on your feet, even if you need a cane or whatever it takes, even if you need someone to hold you as you're standing on your feet, there's victory there. there's joy there. There's celebration there. You're no longer laying prostrate and just feeling like you want to die. You have now army crawled. You have now push up crawled. You have now pulled up and you are now on those 2 feet. What? I'm telling you, it's what you do, and it will allow you to be better and to be stronger and to be wiser. For those of you who love gospel music, come on, Marvin Sapp. And so, my family, all of us decided to find therapists, and everyone found a different therapist because you have to find the right one for you, just like you have to find the right significant other. The Jim won't be the same for Sally as he is for Jill. You know what I'm saying? So you have to find the right match for you. And if it takes a minute to find the right match, that's okay. But try to find the right match in reference to a therapist because they are gifts from above. Lean in to how you're feeling. Don't be ashamed of it. Embrace it because we cannot conquer it until we embrace it and know what it is. And so trust, that someone is gifted enough, just like you might be gifted in the culinary arts, or you may be gifted in dance, or you may be gifted in architecture, whatever you're gifted in. This person is gifted in therapy and allowing you to see things another way. Allow them to walk in their gifts so that you can once again find your gift. Family, I'm telling you, there is joy after this. There is joy after what you're walking through. You just have to trust it, and we seek joy intently, don't we now? We go after our dreams. We work to purchase the hottest items because if I have that Louis Vuitton bag, or if I have those Louboutin shoes, or if I have that Gucci then, I may feel better. We pursue joy in different ways. We seek to find the perfect love. If I could just find the perfect love, I could have joy again. We check to see if our posts have gone viral, because if I can feel like a celebrity and I can feel like I'm validated, then I can find joy again and I can walk again. If I can just get that arousing round of applause, I can walk again and I can find joy again. And goodness knows we do need those moments. We do need those moments. It's a beautiful feeling. It gives you a burst. It gives you the charge that you need. And it is a gift. But I want to remind you something. So my dad he has all girls, and I also have all girls, but now I also have a bonus son. And so, but my dad was determined that we needed to know how to do things for ourselves because he didn't want us to have to depend on someone else. So one thing that he taught us was the maintenance of our car, changing the oil, how to change a tire. So I'm in the car with my 3 daughters at the time. This is before my baby went to glory. And I'm in the door, and they're little now, like they're little. And so I'm in the car and we're driving and we're on the highway and it's dark. And it's a highway that doesn't have a lot of street lights, as we call it in Baltimore. And so the car begins to putter. And then I hear a, well, Lord, behold, my tire has blown. So I'm panicking a little bit because the road is dark. I'm panicking a little bit because I have my toddlers in the back and they're 3 and they're stair steps. And I'm panicking a little bit because I don't want to be out here by myself doing this. But, I put on my big girl, stuff, as they say. And I go out and I'm in the trunk and I'm trying to recall everything my father taught me when I was 16. And so I'm in the car and I am looking for the jack and I'm looking for, I don't even know what they're called anymore, but I'm looking for all of the things. And Lord and behold, they're not there. And nonetheless, a tire isn't there. So you talking about panicking? Wait, what? So I'm on a dark road, no lights. My toddler's in their car. Cell phones were really a big thing then. And so what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to walk by myself and leave them in the car to go find help? Am I supposed to walk them with me and we're on the highway? Like, what am I supposed to do? But someone does stop and they give me their phone because, they were rich back then. And I call roadside assistance. And honey, Lord and behold, roadside assistance told me that because of the car that I had selected, I had run flat tires. And I never knew what a run flat tire was, but a run flat tire, family, is your car is equipped so that as a consequence, you are allowed to drive 35 miles per hour up to 50 miles. What? Wait. I can keep moving. I can get my children to somewhere safe. I can be safe. My car will continue to roll for as long as I only take it slow. So that was a life lesson for me. I was preaching to me because family, when you're trying to walk again, family, when you're trying to find joy again, sometimes we have to take it slow. And we have to appreciate the fact that we can take it slow. Normally, I want to go 80 miles per hour. Don't tell nobody. But going 35 miles per hour in that place, was joy to me. It was victory for me. It was a celebration for me. It was walking for me because I could appreciate going slow because it was better than being stopped. Ah, did you hear that? I could appreciate going slow because it was better than being stopped. Family, as you're reestablishing your ability to walk, as you're reestablishing your ability to find joy, know that sometimes you have to take it slow and appreciate it. That no, you don't have to go 80 miles per hour. You shouldn't be going 80 miles per hour anyway. But you can go 35 miles per hour and appreciate it. That's the way. Put on your hazards, let people support you. Go slow. Get in the slow lane. Celebrate every piece of it, and you will get there. There is real joy when life gets real. Take it slow. Go in the slow lane. Army crawl. Push up crawl. Kneel. Pull up. Stand on your feet. Go as slow as you can. Stay in that slow lane. Celebrate every piece of it, every piece of the victory. Lean into those who love you. And I promise you, you will walk again. And not only that, you will walk in joy again. Bless you, sisters. You got this.
Wow, wow, wow. That was so powerful. I want to thank you. Thank you for allowing God to use you in this way. Thank you for allowing somebody else's pain to become purpose in this moment. Somebody was called to be on here today. They don't know why they were called to be here, but they were called to be here. And I'm sure they took away something that can change the trajectory of their life, because when you take those small steps and go slow and know that you won't be stopped, that can change everything. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, of course, we cannot let Letricia Loftin Russell leave without doing Q&A, because you gave us so much in that time period. And so my first question, you talked about grief and the feelings associated with it. But for someone who knows someone else who is dealing with grief, what do you say to that person? How do you respond? What's the appropriate way to care for somebody during that time?
You know, I think sometimes life has just taught us that we have to have something profound to say. We just have to have that something, because what we're going to say is going to make that person feel better. Take that away. You know, don't even put that pressure on yourself, because what this person is walking through, there's not going to be one statement that's going to change how they're feeling. So just be there. The ministry of presence is priceless. The ministry of presence, I never understood how someone just being present, or someone just sending you a text saying, just sending you love, just thinking of you today, sis. You know what I'm saying? Just holding you up in prayer. I'm hoping to hold your arms up. That means the absolute world, because there's not going to be just one thing that you're going to be able to say to make that person feel better. Also, if that person desires to talk about their loved one that's been called home, allow them to do so. Sometimes it makes us so uncomfortable that we make the person who's walking through grief uncomfortable because they want to bring up their loved one. I think years ago it was kind of taboo. Like, I know people who have lost a child, and so if they had 6 children and they lost a child who went home to glory, they would start saying that they have 5 children. Whereas we choose to walk in it differently. Someone's like, so now you have 2 daughters? Oh, no, 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 no. Forevermore, I have 3. And now I have 4 because I have a bonus daughter, but there will never be a time. Or so now you have 1 sister. Oh, no, no, no. Forevermore, I have 2 sisters. You know what I'm saying? So this person is still in a tremendous part of my life, and I will never dismiss what they are to me. And what I love is that love transcends. And so I can feel the presence of my daughters here on earth, and I can also feel the presence of my sister and my daughter in heaven. And those are big things. So I'm hoping that people will welcome me if I want to bring up a memory and say, you know what, Braxton used to do that, or Braxton loved that flower, for them to not cringe up and then make me feel bad because I want to speak on my loved one.
That's so powerful. And your story is so powerful. And you having the courage to share it, having that courage. Can you tell us, if someone else is going through something, how do you share? Where do you start?
Charlene, growing up also, back in the day, they would say, keep your dirty laundry at home, and so, but I really felt like when I knew someone had walked through it, it gave me the strength to know that I could walk through it. And even if our stories weren't the same, if she could walk through that and come out on the other side, if Iyanla Vanzant, could walk through what she walked through and come out on the other side and be able to coach people and fix their lives and change their lives, then I can be able to do that too. If someone has walked through molestation, or someone has walked through a horrible divorce, or whatever it is that they've walked through, and they can come out on the other side, then that gives me hope that I can too. So a lot of times what you're walking through helps to give a blueprint for somebody else. Now, granted, that's not the assignment we want, but yes, but okay, if this is the assignment that I have, then I'm going to walk strong in it, because I don't want anyone feeling the way that I did. And if it's something that I can say to make someone feel some hope, then absolutely I desire to share that.
Yes, and you supplied us with so many great tips. I love how you talked about finding your inner child, right? There was once a time when we were so happy and joyful. The small things just made us smile with joy, right? So how do we get that back? And then you talked about watching TV, your favorite shows, Good Times. I love it. Yes, yes. Anybody else, if you are wondering what your next step is, or if you took inspiration away from Letricia's story, type in the comments. Let us know what you are going to do on your journey to make sure that nothing at all gets in the way of your joy. Before we wrap up, Letricia, are there any parting words that you want to leave us with, or any words of inspiration that we can take right now?
Family, I just want you to walk. I want you to walk towards fear. I want you to walk in faith, because walking towards fear is what faith is. I want you to stand 10 toes on the fact that you will be victorious. And for those of you who believe in scripture, Ephesians 3:20 says that he will do exceedingly and abundantly more than you dare dream, ask, or think. And sometimes we think that that's just something materialistic, but it's also in healing. It's also, I didn't think I would be able to make it to be in a place where I could speak to you, but that is a part of him doing exceedingly and abundantly more as well. And so, whatever it is that you believe on, you walk in faith and you stand on that. You stand 10 toes on it and know that you will be on the other side and you will have a testimony to share. There will be a message out of your mess. You make it so.
Yes, turning your mess into a message, your test into a testimony. I love it. If you want to follow Letricia Loftin Russell, go on Instagram, Letricia.Loftin. And is there anywhere else that people can find you?
Sure. So Facebook, because us older ones, we're Facebookers. And so I'm Letricia Loftin Russell on Facebook. As Charlene said, Letricia.Loftin on Instagram, and also on what was formerly known as Twitter. X, I think is what it's called. It's Letricia Russell, Letricia Loftin as well. And so, family, I would love, for us to connect. And I'm just grateful for people like you, Charlene, who bring power together and, give us things that we can stand on and rest on, for us to, join together in sisterhood and make it to the other side. So bless you and thank you.
Amen. Thank you for blessing us in this way. You heard it from Letricia Loftin Russell, learning how to walk in joy again. Thank you.
Amen.
We are back, and this time it's time to talk about trauma storytelling. Now, you may not have talked about it in the past or recently, but this is the time to talk about it. And we have an expert here who can share insights on how we go about that. So I'm so excited to welcome Simone Elise Mouchette. She is an LMSW, and I'll let her get into more details about what that means later. But she's a young woman who is passionate about serving, raising, and developing at-risk youth into resilient ones. She coaches adults through their healing. Simone holds a bachelor's degree in psychology, a master's of arts in teaching, a master's in social work, and she's currently pursuing a doctorate in social work. Go, Simone. We are so glad to have you here. Now, Simone is living and walking in her purpose as a school social worker for the Department of Education. And she's the founder and CEO of Resilient Young Minds, Inc., and a model. Today, she's going to take us through the art of trauma storytelling. And then we'll go over some experimental ways to take that on right now. So without further ado, let me bring up Simone Mouchette. Hi, Simone.
Hi, Charlene. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. As you mentioned, my name is Simone Elise Mouchette. I'm a licensed master's social worker, so I'm a school social worker by day. And I also started a nonprofit called Resilient Young Minds, where I utilize the method of trauma storytelling to assist youth specifically and their families overcome trauma and kind of build their resilient skills. But it's a little bit about me before I get started. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, primarily in a single parent household. And during my time growing up, I experienced some traumatic experiences myself. I experienced living in a low income household. I experienced a sexual assault. And some of these experiences created insecurities within myself that I held inside. The type of background that I came from, a Caribbean background, you don't really talk about your business. You don't really talk about the negative things that happen to you. You kind of just push through, and the expectation is that you'll be fine, and that's it. And so from that, growing into becoming an educator, I noticed that my students were struggling with similar issues that I had. I saw myself in them. And it kind of made me want to change that. I wanted to create a space for them because not only were they struggling mentally and emotionally, that mental and emotional baggage that they weren't able to release, it was blocking them from receiving the academic knowledge that they needed to do well in school. And so as an educator, I was able to create safe spaces, or at the time we started calling them restorative circles, in the classroom to allow them to release some of the things that bothered them in the beginning of the day so that they could feel free to do their work after class. So that also led me to starting Resilient Young Minds, because as an educator, our job is not really to talk about your feelings. It's about pretty much teaching you. That's what the system says. But to be a quality educator, you kind of have to tap into your emotions to support young people. So I decided to step away and begin my nonprofit outside of the classroom so my students could have that freedom. And I started doing that 6 years ago. And since then, I have seen so many young people come through the program feeling free and relieved. The biggest takeaway they got out of it was having their own voice and having power in their stories. And so today, I'm very passionate about sharing that technique of trauma storytelling, removing the stigma. And I found that trauma storytelling also brings a sense of belonging to us. A lot of us who face anxiety, depression, even suicidal ideation, if you haven't heard, suicide is the second leading cause of death among youth ages 10 to 24. That's a very alarming age because that's a pretty young group. And the most of the reason is because they don't feel free to express themselves authentically in a vulnerable manner. And I want to go over some techniques today with you to show you how to successfully share trauma storytelling to create connection and a sense of belonging and not bring you to a place of shame or judgment. I think you're on mute, Charlene.
Thank you so much, Simone. I think it's time to start the healing process in our communities, right? It is time. I'm so glad that you're here to walk us through that process. Where do we start?
Okay, I would love to do an activity that I call the mirror. The only way that we can do this is that everyone needs to have access to the selfie camera on their phone. And
Let me bring up my selfie camera.
Mm-hmm. And now this is going to be a communal experience. So Charlene, we're going to use you as our example, if that's okay.
That works for me.
All right. So you're going to look up at your selfie camera. And as you look into your camera, Charlene, I want you to be able, if you can, to jot down as many characteristics that you see in yourself. While Charlene is looking in the mirror, don't start yet. While Charlene is looking in her selfie camera and writing down the things she sees in herself, all of us we're gonna write in the chat all the things that we see in Charlene. But don't write them in the chat yet until I say write, because we don't want Charlene to see it while she's writing down her things. So she's in the bathroom. If you guys came to a Ryan retreat, we'd be in the bathroom in a private area where we can't see you. And Charlene is going to have that intimate moment with herself. And we'll be outside. We're outside in the living room with our little index cards with Charlene's name on top of it. And we're writing down all the things we see in Charlene when we first met her or we first seen her. All right. So everyone's going to have 30 seconds to write down as many characteristics as we can about Charlene. Ready, set, go. And Charlene is writing about herself, what she sees looking at that selfie camera. $15 more seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. So now what we're going to do is everyone is going to put what they wrote about Charlene in the chat. Y'all ready? All right, let's type it as quickly as we can. I'll put mine in the chat as well, because one of the other rules that I do in my retreat is that everyone has to participate. Everyone, including the facilitator. Why do I do that? It's because I want to remove the power dynamic, right? Sometimes the power in the relationship can make someone feel intimidated to share their true feelings. So if it's a parent and child relationship, the child may feel uncomfortable to share. If it's a employee supervisory relationship, the employee may not feel comfortable to tell the boss, my parent just passed away, or not even my close friend or my pet that I had since I was a child that means so much to me. But to the working world, they might think that's a silly reason to be out, right? Mm-hmm. So these are all the different types of traumatic experiences we have every day that we hold in, and it eats away at us over time. All right, so I wrote in mine. We can go over some of the comments that you see in the chat, Charlene. But before we go over it, I want you to read out loud. What did you write about yourself? Inquire wants to know.
I have to tell the world what I wrote about myself. Okay. So I said, I have a surprised look. I saw love in my eyes. Ooh. I saw fashionista, peace, calmness, books, love, smile, energy.
Nice. I love that. So what I wrote for you was I saw beautiful, smart, articulate, confident, goal-oriented, resilient, and loving eyes. So, Charlene, what did you notice about what comparisons that you can take away from what you wrote about yourself versus what I wrote about you?
I feel like what I saw about me was just things that I can see in that moment, right? I separated anything else that didn't relate to the moment. So my look, how I looked at the current moment, what was in my background, my setting, and I felt like you dug deeper into my personality, right? And that didn't immediately come out for me. It was like, what do I see in this camera right now?
Right. And what did you notice? Did I get anything right based off of what I wrote about your personality?
Yeah, you did. That I hear that a lot. Yeah.
Which parts?
I hear the love in the eyes, smart. I don't remember why those two stood out for me. Goal oriented. Yes, that one. Those were the three that stood out for me.
Okay. I like it. So you're going to do me, right? Because everyone participates and I want to participate too. And then we'll process that experience. Okay. So I'm going to take 30 seconds. I got my selfie camera on. And you guys are going to write in the chat as many things that comes to mind when you looked at me for the first time. And we'll have 30 seconds while I write. Okay? Ready, set, go. $15 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, y'all. You can write in the chat right now. Just don't be so harsh. No, you can be honest. You can write in the chat what words came to mind when you looked at me. All right, Charlene, you could tell me what you saw when you looked at me, and I can share.
Sophisticated, model-esque, intelligent, organized, educated, focused, smart, compassionate, teacher, learner, friendly, adaptable.
Wow. You about to make me cry.
That's what we see.
Right? I didn't know. It's so funny. I do this all the time, and I'm always surprised about what's said to me. What I wrote about myself was beautiful, brave, more relaxed, needs to make more time for self, simple, and resilient. So my comparisons are I wrote brave because, believe it or not, I have a huge fear of public speaking. And lately I've been doing it, and I am organized. I heard you say organized, but I haven't been very organized lately now that I'm doing my doctorate and my nonprofit is getting, more traction. So I'm more busy. So I feel more flustered. So I said I'm being brave right now by just coming on and not thinking about any of it, just going in. And that's led me to be feeling more relaxed. So I kind of was like you, like, what's the moment right now?
Yes.
I'm feeling. And I said, make more time for myself because I'm gonna call the elephant in the room. I'm not really feeling my background, But I feel like if I had made more time to do it the way that I wanted to, I would have felt a little less anxious or self-conscious about it. So it made me reflect like, well, how much time am I really spending on myself to make sure that I feel good so that I show up the way I want to show up and not showing up like my full self in spaces. So that was some of my comparisons.
I like that. And you brought up a good point. So if what people are saying about us don't align with how we want to show up, what do we do?
Exactly. And I think starting activities like Mira, thank you for getting in that engagement activity. That was like a smooth transition question. I think that's what makes these activities and round retreats amazing, is because you can't do anything about anything if you're not aware of it, if you don't know it exists. And that's what this activity does. It's the first step in making you aware that sis or bro, you are too hard on yourself, right? The way we see ourselves is not the way people see us. People see us as our best, even if we feel like we're at our worst. And if we can lean on that a little more, it kind of removes the fear and the anxiety that and the false narratives that we put on ourselves that keep us or limit us from moving forward, whether it's work, whether it's school, whether it's do I need to make dinner tonight or buy dinner? you know, Heightening our self-awareness can help us to understand and communicate our needs much better. And also, it naturally and innately creates that sense of belonging and human connection. Like, Charlene, like I saw you, like almost, I saw tears in your eyes almost a little bit at first. And then I saw you get excited when I shared. And I saw, like, okay, it's a connection. We just met face to face 2 minutes ago.
Yes.
And already it feels like there's a comfortable connection taking place by just this one small activity. And so that's what the trauma storytelling experience can do when it's done right, when it's done structured, and when it's done in fair order, meaning that everyone participates. And I hold true to that. I shared my business with clients on other levels, but you know what? No one has said anything. You know why? Because they shared their business with me. So if we're gonna start, exposing people, everyone has fair power. Like, I like to speak all the elephants in the room that have that fear of why people are afraid to engage in that trauma storytelling. And the other biggest thing that I would say when it comes to working with young people is that they're human too, and they have an experience as well. And so sharing your experience with a young person doesn't mean that you're exposing them to something negative too early. Like, you're giving them insight that you're a human being too. I think that's the biggest thing. We are all humans. And the best way we can understand each other is just by hearing each other out and hearing our different perspectives.
Yes. So how would this assignment work when we are not at our best self, right? Because 3 hours before, I could have been a completely different person. I'm like, oh my God, this is about to happen. This needs to be in place. And then I'm thinking all of these thoughts about myself, right? When I look in the mirror at that moment, it's a different story. So, how do we take this exercise into those moments where we are not feeling our best?
Awesome. So, what I do in camp, this is a build-up activity. After we've expressed the trauma, which is a different activity, we go back to these cards. So, my card that I wrote about you: beautiful, smart, articulate, confident, goal-oriented, resilient, loving eyes. You would get that card. So if we were all in person, all these things we all wrote down, we would have handed it to you. So you're coming away with that card. So your card could have been like, I'm ugly, which I've seen it, especially working with teenagers. I'm ugly. I don't have this, or I don't have that. Like, they do that negative self-talk. And now we've just gave them new words that are true about them, that they can replace those negative words with. And so when we wake up in the morning and we're brushing our teeth, we're going to Mary Jane it. We're going to tape up those index cards, or perhaps in your notebook, that journal that you carry around, or your planner. Maybe you'll have them in there so that when you open it up, you'll see those cards to remind you of who you are, and also remind you of that experience and how far you've come.
I like that. Is there any other activity? I know we only have a short time, but this has been so good. And people are in the comments like, yes, I want more, right? What else can somebody probably do at home by themselves? Is there anything you can do by yourself? Or should you do more community activities in order to start the healing process? What do you recommend?
I love that question. More community.
Mm.
We don't do well in isolation. It even says it in the word, right? It is not good for man to be alone, right? Because when we are feeling down, that's when we need a person the most to help pick us up. So isolating is like the worst thing that we can do when we're not feeling our best selves. And that's where normalizing trauma storytelling becomes. My participants, as they leave retreats, they have these group chats that are never ending. They're like years long. And they step in because now that's a community where they know they feel safe, that they could tap in and say, look, I had a rough week, guys. This is what took place. And they can unload, and then they just start pouring encouragement on each other. They'll start praying for each other. The retreat also provides self-care coping skills in between. So we're dancing, we're doing Zumba, we're doing yoga, we're doing karaoke, because in the midst of the healing work, in facing your trauma face to face, we have to help keep ourselves going and keep the hope alive by doing things we genuinely enjoy. That makes us feel good. The things that we first take off our list when we feel overwhelmed, like, oh, I got this paper to write, or oh, I gotta work late, I got this client to meet. Okay, girl, I can't meet you for bowling tonight, or I can't meet you for that event we planned. Even though that event is gonna fill you up and gonna make you feel good, we cross it off to do things that we feel like obligated or that's anxiety inducing to do, when it's like, no, you're not going to be your best self because you already run down. You got to stop, go fill your bucket, and then go back to it so you could be your 100% self, and know that God gave you the grace to do that. You have the grace to do that. I think also we don't think we have the grace, so we got to do it now. We got to do it right here. It's like, no, it can wait. Because if you die tomorrow from high blood pressure or stress or anything else, guess what? It's not going to get done anyway.
True. Wow. It can wait. Okay. Let's remember that. Tomorrow, the next day, the next week, it can wait. Take time for the people in your life. Don't postpone that for anything else on your to-do list, right? Create a more balanced life that caters to your self-care, your mental health, and everything that fills you up so you can be your best when you interact with other people. Thank you so much, Simone, for sharing all those insights. I absolutely love it. And I know there are people in the chat who want to work with you one-on-one to start the healing process. So, how do people work with you, and where do people find you online?
Awesome. So you can find us on social media. We are on Instagram and Facebook as RYM_INC. You can find us on YouTube at Resilient Young Minds. And you can reach out to me. Just send me an email at resilientyoungminds@gmail.com, or you can send a direct message at those pages that I just gave you. And I'll share with you the information of our upcoming camp. Right now, we're working on a men's only resilience camp. We have some young men and some older men that are coming together to do this work alongside each other and have a mentorship role. So we're excited about that. But every May, for Mental Health Awareness Month, we do an adult camp. And every July, we do a 3 to 5 day youth resilience camp. And they're both overnight in the Poconos. We usually do them there. And I'll advertise those. And if you email me, you'll get the information directly on how you can sign up. Those are our niche practices. And you can also book us for a custom camp. So if you have a church community, you have a work community, you have a group that you're a part of and you want to connect with that group, you want to create that space for them, you can also reach out and I'll do a customized resilience camp for your group as well.
Nice. Everybody, comment in the chat right now. type something that you took away from this session or something that you plan to do this week to start your healing process. I want to thank you, Simone, for coming on the Wealth, Health, and Self-Care Summit and sharing all of your insights. We can't wait to see what's next for you.
No problem. Thank you all so much for having me. It was a pleasure. And Charlene, I hope to see you at the next camp because that was too much of a vibe. I got it now.
Yes, yes. All right. Have a good one. Welcome back to the Wealth, Health, and Self-Care Summit. Right now, we have to dive into mental health because it's an important topic that impacts millions of people. In fact, 1 in 5 people are impacted by mental health. 1 in 5 people. That's why we have Cameron Leary here to talk about that. She's a devoted mental health advocate and author on a mission to break down the barriers surrounding mental health. She has a book about this topic, and she's aiming to reach and support as many individuals as possible. Now, through her blog, The Happy Hour, she strives to create a safe space for open dialogue and understanding. So I'm so excited to bring up Cameron Leary to talk about mental health and give us some strategies to make sure that we recognize the symptoms and can get help when needed. Hi, Cameron.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. So let me start by telling you a little bit about myself. My name is Cameron. At the age of 22, my journey through life has been marked by a multitude of experience and passions that have shaped me into the person that I am today. Professionally, I serve as a commercial loan servicer, diligently navigating the complex corporate world. However, my identity extends beyond my career. I am deeply committed to mental health advocacy. I'm not just a writer, but the author of a blog, The Happy Hour, and a published author of the book, Me Time, which I will share a little bit more about later. My academic pursuits have taken me to both Montclair State University and the University of Arkansas studying business. In my free time, I find power in the embrace of fitness, but the most rewarding moments are those spent visiting classrooms where I had the privilege of inspiring and guiding young minds towards a brighter future. Writing has been a refuge, allowing me to express myself and connect with others on a profound level. Yet it's not my achievements that define me. I have faced my own firsthand struggle with mental health, a battle that has taught me valuable lessons about resilience and empathy. I invite you to explore my journey, the highs and the lows, and the path that has led me to where I stand now. Today, I stand before you to share my journey through personal struggles, OCD, anxiety, and depression. This experience wasn't just about getting by. It was about finding my strength, digging deep, and regaining control of my happiness. So fast forward back to 2020, my life, as well as millions, took a drastic turn. Working remotely during the pandemic meant being physically isolated from friends and family for an extended period. The days blurred into one another, and the walls of my home began to feel like my only sanctuary. The lack of social interactions gradually led to my growing sense of anxiety, particularly about leaving the house, which is also known as agoraphobia. The fear and apprehension became overwhelming, making even the simplest tasks outside seem impossible. This marked the onset of severe social anxiety, a struggle that consumed me and sometimes continues to consume me, and made the world outside my doorstep feel daunting and unreachable. It was a challenging time, one that required immense resilience and the determination to reclaim my life. In the darkest corners of my mind, anxiety, OCD, and depression cast their shadows. Each day felt like a climb up a steep mountain where the weight of my struggles threatened to pull me back. But it was during these times that I realized the transformative power of self-care, a beacon of hope in the fog of hopelessness. Prioritizing self-care became my lifeline, the cornerstone upon which I built my path to success. Through relentless dedication to nurturing my well-being, I found the strength to face my fears, embrace challenges, and transcend limitations. It was my fuel that propelled me forward, propelling me towards heights I once deemed unreachable. Self-care is the cornerstone of a fulfilling and balanced life. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to neglect our own well-being in the pursuit of external goals and responsibilities. Self-care isn't a selfish act. It's an act of self-preservation. By taking time to nurture our physical, emotional, and mental health, we become better equipped to face life's challenges and support those around us. It's a vital investment in our overall happiness and productivity. In the hustle and bustle of our daily lives, we often sacrifice well-being to meet external demands, thinking it's a necessary trade-off. This couldn't be farther from the truth. Self-care provides us with a renewed sense of focus, creativity, and efficiency. It allows us to approach our tasks with a clearer mind and higher level of energy, ultimately leading to better results. When we invest in self-care, we're investing in our own capacity to excel in our personal and professional endeavors, making it not only a personal imperative, but also a key to success in every aspect of our lives. When we prioritize self-care, we create a space in our lives to explore passions, interests, and values. It's an opportunity to delve deeper into what truly makes us happy and fulfilled, whether it's pursuing a hobby, traveling, or simply taking time to reflect. Self-care allows us to uncover our authentic selves. Through these moments of self-care and self-expression, we gain a clearer understanding of our purpose, values, and what brings meaning to our lives. It's in these moments that we unlock the potential for personal growth and a richer, more purposeful existence. Another thing that I learned during this time is the power of abundance. Abundance is a concept that transcends material wealth. It encompasses a mindset of plenty and a recognition of vast richness that life has to offer. Abundance is the belief that there is enough for everyone, and it's not confined to monetary or material possessions alone. It's about experiencing the richness of love, joy, knowledge, and the simple pleasures of existence. When we embrace an abundant mindset, we open ourselves to a world of possibilities and cultivate gratitude for unlimited blessings that surround us. Abundance is a reminder that even in challenging times, there's an abundance of opportunities for personal growth, kindness, and the joy of fulfilling life. It's a perspective that empowers us to share, give, and appreciate the incredible abundance that life continually grants us. And let me tell you, this path to recovery was not smooth, straight road. It was a roller coaster with ups and downs that often took me by surprise. There were moments when I thought that I had it all figured out, only to be knocked back a few steps. Recovery isn't a straight line. It's a messy, twisting journey, but every stumble taught me something. Every setback made me more determined. It's about picking yourself up, dusting off, and continuing to climb no matter how challenging it may be. Imagine a future where self-care is not a luxury, but a fundamental necessity. A future where we recognize the state of our well-being dictates the tapestry of our success. By investing in ourselves, we unlock our true potential, the potential to achieve great heights. One pivotal moment in my recovery is when I started journaling. Writing down my thoughts and feelings was a turning point. It helped me understand myself better and give me a sense of relief. In fact, this experience inspired me to create my book, Me Time, a mental health journal. This was truly a labor of love. I wanted to help others who were going through similar struggles. In my own experience, taking time for me time made a world of a difference. It was like giving myself a chance to breathe, reset, and focus on what truly mattered. Sometimes in the midst of our battles, we forget that we too need care and attention. Just as we fuel our bodies with food and water, we must fuel our souls with self-care and understanding. By sharing our experiences and supporting one another, we break down the walls of stigma and silence. We create a community where it's okay to ask for help and lean on each other. Together, we can light the way for those still struggling, showing them that they are not alone and that there is hope and that there is strength in vulnerability. And even in the depths of my anxiety and isolations, I found the strength to fight back. I refused to be defined by my struggles. Through therapy, self-reflection, and the unwavering support of loved ones, I took small steps one at a time to rebuild my life. Today, as I stand here sharing my story, I want you to know that resilience and self-care have immense transformative power. We can rise from the darkest depths and emerge into light, stronger and wiser. Our struggles do not define us. It's how we rise above them that shapes our true character. We can walk this path together, supporting and uplifting each other. Let's embrace me time and make self-care a foundation for success and happiness.
Thank you so much, Cameron. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Oh, thank you.
Mental health. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Now, I think it's a great time to dive into some of the concepts that you discussed, specifically
Certainly.
journaling. I
Yes.
love journals. Journals are a game changer. It's
Oh,
great
for
to
sure.
see everything right on paper. So, Cameron, would you be able to walk us through some prompts? Let's say someone has never journaled before, right? Where do you start? Is there a specific prompt that can get us going in the right direction?
Yes, absolutely. So in my book, Me Time, it's available on Barnes & Noble. You can search my name, Cameron Leary, or you can just search Me Time. It should come up. There are great prompts in this book, but of course you don't need the book to have a prompt. Something that I really like to do is when you're just getting started, even looking up prompts, journaling prompts for anxiety or whatever you may be going through, journaling prompts for depression, journaling prompts for OCD. Something that I have in here is a gratitude journal. So even just finding the light in what may seem, like there's no good in your day, I'm sure that you could find something because you are here. You are, for me, I have a roof over my head. I have food on the table. That is something to be grateful for. So whatever comes to mind for you, I think that what are you grateful for today is a great starting point.
I love that. Let's do that exercise right now because an attitude of gratitude can shift everything. So if you have your journal or a piece of paper, you can buy your journal later. Just grab a piece of paper. And Cameron, can you walk us through this? How many minutes should we think about doing this? Maybe 30 seconds or a minute? Or should we have a list of items that we are grateful for first thing in the morning? Maybe 10 items. What do you recommend?
So I think that it depends on, person to person. When you're first starting, it might be hard to kind of get the creative juices flowing. But you'll find as you keep going that it'll take more and more time. And I think that setting aside that time is honestly maybe the hardest part. So, if it's your own journal, no one's reading it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just putting pen to paper is the most important part.
Yeah, definitely. So I think it's a great idea to give everyone, let's do 30 seconds right now, right?
Yeah.
Just for people to get comfortable with writing down. If you can only get one thing, that's fine. It's no competition, and you are the only one seeing this, just like Cameron stated. If you can get 5 things, that's also good. But Cameron and I are about to do that for 30 seconds. Write down what we are grateful for and share it with you. And you can do it on your own time as well so that you can get the energy that comes from expressing your gratitude. So are you ready, Cameron?
Yes, I'm going to type mine because I don't have a pen on me.
Go for it. Type it. Yes, whatever works. Yes. So we are going to put the timer up. And if you are available to do this as well, hey, get your pen and paper or your your computer and do it as well.
Yes.
Okay. Let's get started. 30 seconds. I'm about to put my timer on. And give people time to gather their utensils. Let's see. Okay, let's go. 30 seconds. Okay, we just did 45 seconds, then 15 extra seconds. Yes, but how did it feel for you, Cameron?
It's always great to really step back and look at what you are grateful for because, you know, we all know it in the back of our minds, but as I said, putting the pen to the paper or fingers to the keyboard, it really helps to kind of look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, and it's so important when you're so busy. You have this long
Oh,
list
yeah.
of things to do, and you just don't have that time for you. You don't have that self-care time. So if we can
Yes.
take out 30 seconds or a minute to jot down things we are grateful for, that can allow us to be more productive in everything else we do. So I'm going to share a few things on my list. Number one, I'm grateful that Cameron was here to share her mental health journey and resources with us. Two, I'm grateful for this weather. I'm in Chicago and it's usually snowing, very windy and cold, but it's beautiful. It's a beautiful fall day. It's been beautiful all week. And that's just been amazing and a plus. I'm grateful for my Fitbit because I can track my steps, right? You
Yes.
mentioned the power of fitness. I
Mhm.
love walking every day to make sure I am releasing everything in me and I am not holding it all in. I'm grateful for this notebook so that I can jot down everything. My mom gave me this notebook and it actually says, manifest your vision. So it's
Love
very
that.
important for me, yes, to really think about what I want, write it down. And then also on that journey, think about what you're grateful for.
Those are
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
I wrote down, so yesterday I had the honor of going to 3 different schools and 15 classes to read a book on diversity to children. So that was, I'm so grateful for that experience. So making an impact on children was on my list. I'm grateful to have a job that I can thrive in. As I mentioned, I'm in commercial loan servicing at a local bank here in New Jersey. Um, I'm so grateful to have supporting loved ones who understand what I have been through, what I continue to go through. Because, you know, as I said, it's not a linear journey, and I do have my days. And I'm so grateful that I have people who understand me and who are there to support me. Um, that was 3. Oh, yeah. And then, or no, that was, I lost count, but
That was
I have
3 and those are good.
okay. I also am grateful that I have the power to use my voice and share my story. That I have the opportunity to be able to write and publish a book. Um, and of course, I'm grateful to be here to again share my story and hopefully impact the lives of others.
Yes, you started off talking about service. I feel
Yes,
that when you serve others, when you have that heart of service, you worry less about what's going on in your life and you get this sense of fulfillment and joy by being able to use what you have to impact somebody else's life.
absolutely. Yeah.
That's so powerful.
Just
Yeah.
they were 3-year-olds, so just being able to see the smiles and it was just a great experience.
I love it. And you talked about your job. That's
Yes.
great. Like being grateful for your job that you can use your talent to earn an income so that you can be able to serve and do those things that you love.
Yes. Yeah. I think that sometimes even myself, we get caught up in being like, oh, I don't want to go to work. Like, you know, it happens. Or you have a hard day at work but at the end of the day, it is a blessing to be able to have a job where you can have opportunities, especially to grow. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, most people hate waking up on Monday mornings, and
Yeah.
they use all the days of the week counting down until Friday, right? So that would be interesting. Like, how can we think about gratitude as it relates to work?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be interesting. And you mentioned your loved ones too.
Yes.
It's so important to have a support system and acknowledging that you are not doing it all alone, that you have this beautiful support system there by your side.
Yes, it's vital. And if you don't have, not everyone has that luxury to have a supportive or understanding family, but there is going to be someone out there who will listen. There will be someone out there who will care for you and care about you and be able to talk you through your hardest moments. And I have a section on my blog that you can message me directly, and I would be more than happy to chat with people who aren't as lucky as me to have that support system.
Awesome. We have Cameron's Instagram account at the bottom, so make sure you follow Cameron on Instagram at Cam Gracie. CAMRACEEE. Don't forget
Yes.
the 3 E's. Yes, yes. And let's talk about the support services. If you don't have it internally, right? If you don't have that community, maybe you can find a therapist. How do you go about finding a therapist? Are there websites that you can go to? And how do you know if you have the right one for you?
Yeah, so it's sometimes you would think that it would be as easy as like a quick Google search, but sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes you don't always click. Not every therapist is going to be the right therapist for you. And I think that's why a lot of people get discouraged from going to therapy, because maybe your first experience wasn't a good one, which was the case for me. And that's why I didn't want to return to therapy. But when you find someone that clicks for you, it's life-changing. And I have some resources in my book here, some websites. I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head the name of the website, but I think it gives you there's a tools and resources page in my book that gives also NAMI, which I am a big supporter of NAMI. There is one here in New Jersey, and then there's, ones by county. I'm not sure how exactly it is for other states, but they offer great resources, free tools, group sessions, workshops, and they are all, they're funded by, fundraising, and so I'm a big supporter of them, and all the proceeds from my book go to NAMI.
Awesome. Yeah, NAMI.org. I see it here. NAMI.org, which is the National Alliance on Mental Illness.
Yes. And then also, if you're findatreatment.gov also gives resources for mental health as well, if you're looking for professional help. So that's a great tool as well that I have in my book.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing those resources.
Certainly.
Is there anything else that you would like to leave us with? Because there's so much that we could discuss. We can go on for hours talking about mental health. But what can we use right now? What insights or advice do you have?
So I think that a big thing for me, I wanted to talk a little bit about pageantry because I'm a lover of pageantry myself and a contestant for Miss New Jersey USA coming up in March. And I think that something that kind of discouraged me from pageantry was thinking that I can't do it because a title holder is not someone who struggles with their mental health. And I think that's so far from the truth. And because of how much resources, and if you are able to live a normal life, I don't see why you can't be a title holder. And I really want to share my story to show that you can go for your dreams no matter what setbacks you may have. and really find strength and vulnerability.
Yes, that's beautiful. Yes.
Thank you.
What happened to you does not have to determine your future, right? What you're going through
100%.
does not have to determine where you can go and how you can help other people get there too. So I want to thank you, Cameron, for joining us for the Wealth, Health, and Self-Care Summit. We appreciate you. And if anyone has any questions, leave them in the chat so we can answer them. We want to make sure we're providing you with resources and insights to get you to the next level. But thank you so much, Cameron, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It was such an honor.
All right, welcome back to the Wealth, Health, and Self-Care Summit. Right now, we have Choniece Stevenson with us. Now, Choniece is a mental health and confidence coach and is Miss Voluptuous International 2023-2024. Now, when she saw a deficit of mental health services in her community, she didn't just stand there. She wanted to do something about it. So she made it her mission to bridge that gap. Through one-on-one coaching and community initiatives, she has been able to make mental health a priority for all. Her motto is and will always be, everyone is deserving of happiness and peace of mind. I love that so much. Now, Choniece is here to talk about how confidence is connected to mental health. So I'm excited to bring up Choniece Stevenson to dive in and give us some confidence tips to keep us going in the right direction.
Hi there, everyone. It is so good to see you all. So I am Choniece Stevenson. I got into mental health and confidence coaching because I went through my own healing journey. And in that process, it was hard for me to connect with someone. And I realized I wanted to be that connecting piece. I wanted to be that safe space for others. So that began my journey into mental health and confidence coaching. My platform within Miss Voluptuous is mental health awareness. And it just sped up my process to start my foundation, which is empowering you. Through this foundation, my objective is to provide confidence coaching, mental health coaching, all things life skills to anyone of any demographic or socioeconomic status. My goal is to make this a nonprofit so that it is accessible to everyone. And whether you live in the city that I'm in or not, I want to make it accessible to everyone. So let's talk about how confidence is connected to our mental health, right? So I want you to think about areas in your life that you're extremely confident, areas in your life that you're not confident in. And then I want you to think about how those different areas affect your confidence, right? Affect your decision-making, affect the things that happen in your life. The decisions that we make ultimately alter our current and our future mind state, right? Spoiler alert, the mind state that we're in directly affects our mental health. So the confidence that we have within ourselves ultimately determines our capabilities and the things that we're willing to pursue and not willing to pursue. So let's talk about building self-confidence. There's a lot of common mental health issues that are directly affected by our confidence. You would think that confidence is just maybe your ability to pursue something out of your comfort zone or your ability to try something new, but it actually affects us much deeper. So some of the mental health issues that can come from a lack of confidence are depression, anxiety, eating disorders, social phobia, ADHD, and even substance abuse. All of these mental health issues can come from a lack of confidence. There are other variables as well, but that lack of confidence can ultimately lead to those things. So you keep hearing me say the word confidence, right? What is confidence exactly? To me, confidence is a feeling of self-assurance. It's a trust in yourself. It's knowing that no matter how challenging or how easy things are, you feel like you are capable and you are comfortable with the result, even if it's something that's completely out of your comfort zone. Confidence is you having the ability to step forward and do something that challenges you, something that you never thought that you might do. That is true confidence to me. I feel like confidence and courage are directly connected, right? So the difference between the two is that courage is your willingness, right? Courage is the opportunity for you to do something that you might second guess, that you might be a little bit afraid of, but you have the courage. And then when you add in the confidence is the ability to accept the outcome, no matter what it is. It is the ability to tie in that courage and that confidence and step forth into whatever journey or decision that it is that you want to make. So confidence is really important when it comes to mental health, because when we lack that confidence, that means you don't believe in yourself. That means you might doubt yourself. You might second guess yourself. You feel that you're not capable, or you might even think that you're not worthy of receiving the things that you ultimately want to achieve. Building confidence is something that takes time. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. It did not happen overnight for me. And I was a person that thought initially I was a fairly confident person. But going through my pageant journey, which I'll touch on a little bit later, I realized that there were a lot of areas where I was lacking, and it took a lot of work to get to that place that I ultimately am in now. Building confidence is a slow process. It's a growing process. You will learn a lot of things about yourself. You will learn things about others, but it is a beautiful journey if you are open to it. So some of the key things that I feel like are the most important whenever you want to build your confidence and you want to get to that position where you can really be happy with who you are and the things that you're doing and pursuing, are to ask, what do you value in life? What matters the most to you? What makes you happy? The journey to ultimate mental wellness and that peak in self-confidence comes from you really learning about yourself, and letting go of the thoughts and feelings and other things that other society or other people may have put onto you. It comes to you really getting down to the core, getting very, very vulnerable with yourself and learning who you truly are. That is exactly what I did in my journey when I was in the running to be Miss Voluptuous International. So this was my very first pageant. I never competed prior to this, but I was determined to do something for myself. Prior to me entering into this system, I was a huge people pleaser. I was constantly pouring into everybody's cup and not pouring into my own. And I got to a point in my life where my mental health was deteriorating very quickly. So I knew that after seeking some professional help and doing a little self-work myself, that I needed to make an adjustment and I needed to put myself first. So that is why I decided to compete in Miss Voluptuous International. During this process to the crown, it was very eye-opening about the areas that I lacked, because I was determined to put in the work so that I could show up on stage and I could be comfortable in who I was. So there was a lot of self-discovery on this journey. There was a lot of vulnerability. I shed quite a few tears, but I would say I'm probably in the happiest space in my life that I've ever been in, because I was able to be open and honest with myself. The journey to Miss Voluptuous International just helped me pursue that quicker and further than I feel like I would have on my own if I would not have been competing. So once I was able to get there, I made sure that I fully believed and I trusted in myself. And I feel like personally, that is ultimately what led me to winning the title. Even though I was a first timer, I had never competed before, I had never been a part of a pageant. It was 100% new to me. But because I was all in and I gave it my all and I was completely honest, I was able to bring home the title. So whenever we are talking about building our confidence and stepping out of that comfort zone, it really takes for you to challenge yourself. If I hadn't challenged myself, I might have gotten a little bit of growth, but I don't think I'd be in the space that I was in. I got very comfortable being uncomfortable. So I want to challenge you to do the same thing. Get very comfortable being uncomfortable, because my favorite sayings are comfortability breeds complacency and discomfort breeds growth. Always. Whenever we are uncomfortable, we are challenged to rise to the occasion. And whenever you do that, you learn things about yourself. You find out what you're capable of. And ultimately, when you keep on adding on to those things that you're learning and the things that you're achieving, it's going to ultimately build this confidence within you. And then you're going to be unrecognizable to yourself soon. So some other ways that we can work on building confidence would be setting boundaries. This is a big one, right? Especially if you're anything like me, who was a people pleaser. It was very difficult for me to tell other people no. But setting healthy boundaries for yourself. If you don't want to do something, then you should not have to do it. If you're not capable, if you don't, whatever the situation may be, set those healthy boundaries. If you feel like someone is overstepping that boundary, then it's wise to have a conversation with them and let them know that you are on a journey right now and you are working on yourself. And the people that truly love you, and the people that care and support you, they will understand and they will support that journey 100% of the way. Another portion to building confidence, which was a major challenge because I personally was competing against, I would say, 30 incredible women. They were from all walks of life, all over the world. And these were all women that were doing amazing things as well, advocating for their causes and just incredible women. So the key to that is stop comparing yourself to other people. It doesn't matter that they're the same age as you, that they're older, younger, what they look like, where they're from. Do not compare your journey to someone else's journey. Your journey is your own journey, and everything will happen within the timing that it's supposed to happen for you. There is no need for you to compare yourself to others, because all that will do is keep deteriorating the confidence that you have within you. If you accept that your timing is your timing, then that confidence will slowly continue to build. I would also say the number one thing is to do nice things for yourself, right? We pour into everyone else's cup all of the time, whether you have a significant other, you have kids, you have different family members, friends, coworkers, whoever that you're pouring into all of the time. You pour into all of these people. I want you to take the time to give yourself that same love. Take the time to really get to know who you are, what you like, what you don't like, and treat yourself to those things. Have a day where you're dedicated to cultivating nothing but self-care. Self-care was very important to me during this journey of healing and this journey to the crown, because at that time I was able to silence all of the outside noise and really get to know who I was. And I was kind of surprised because I learned a lot about myself. So I really suggest for you to treat yourself with kindness. All of that love and support and patience that you give to everyone else, I need you to start giving that to yourself. And slowly over time, that confidence, the ability that you have to trust in yourself, that you can do something, that you're capable, that you're worthy of being loved, all of those things will continue to build. You will naturally begin to continue to set those healthy boundaries. You will naturally be able to connect with the people that are in alignment with the same values that you have. It all starts with you loving on yourself and believing in yourself. Ultimately, having a identity that empowers you to be comfortable with the steps that you're making and be capable of achieving anything leads to the ultimate confidence. Confidence allows you to develop coping skills, because it doesn't matter who you are, where you are, what you do, life is going to have its challenges, right? And being able to have the necessary coping skills and the confidence in yourself to be able to bounce back no matter what comes your way is the ultimate achiever in achieving overall mental wellness. Confidence is the key, guys. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I'm feeling confident just by listening to you, right? I have my checklist here. I'm like, okay, I can do that to knock that off the list and boost my confidence levels up just like that. I absolutely love it. And I want to give you credit for competing in your first pageant and winning your first pageant. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, I know one thing that can be tough when you're competing in pageants is they only give away one crown. Only one. So there can be 30 people, right?
Yes.
And so it's like, how do you deal with that? How do you put yourself in a position where you might not get what you want? The chances are higher that you might not get what you want, then you will get it.
Absolutely.
How do you put yourself out there to do it?
So it really, my favorite saying is, if I'm worried about me, then I can't be worried about you, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm concerned with the things that I'm doing and I go into this journey to the crown, not to win it, I'm going to take what I can from it as far as growth. I always set a couple of goals, like I want to meet so many people and network with them. I want to be able to connect. I want to build 2 new friendships. If you take things that are actively tangible, that have nothing to do with the crown, and you focus on that, then the crown is just the extra added little cherry on top, because ultimately you've already achieved what you've gone in there to do, because anybody can make 2 friends, anybody can connect. So it just takes for you to shift that mindset away from just the crown and shift it to something a little bit more attainable.
That's some good advice that you can take with you with anything you do, because what holds us back is that fear of the outcome, right? In anything we do, we're afraid of rejection. But sometimes that rejection is redirection, and that rejection is growing you. It's building something up in you so that you can get ready for your next level of success. So don't deny yourself that chance to grow and not even recognize yourself next year. I love when you said that. If you take these steps, you will not recognize yourself next year. Who will you become next year, right? And I think it's a good thing to journal and reflect. Write down who you are today. Like, write a note to yourself. Dear me, I am right now in school. I am about to do this. I am about to do that. I am right here in my life. And then look at that letter a year from now and see who you become. Oh, that's so powerful. You mentioned a lot of great things, but something else that you mentioned that really speaks to me is being clear about what you value in life, because that will determine your confidence level, that clarity in knowing what you want. Now, many people are probably asking, well, how do I know what I want? There's so many options. I don't know what I'm good at. I don't know my strengths. Where do I start?
Right. So what I would suggest, it's funny that you mentioned it, is journaling. That is what really allowed me to figure out who I really was, because I didn't have much definition in that prior to this journey. I suggest a journal that has prompts in it, because initially I was not someone that could just journal by myself or meditate by myself. I used a lot of meditation things that had prompts. I used journals that had prompts, and you're going to slowly break down when you're answering these questions who you are, and you are going to change over time. When I began this journey to the crown, I answered questions, and then I went back right before competition time and I answered those same questions, and it was a completely different answer. You see the development, you see the growth. So journaling is one of the keys, I feel like, in really learning about who you are.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you also talked about people pleasing and learning how to say no. And when you are crystal clear about what you want and what type of life you want to live and who you are, it's easier to say no to those things that don't align with that, right?
Yes, it is. It is so much easier because you get wrapped up in saying yes all of the time. But when you realize that that does not align with what you're pursuing or who you are, it becomes a whole lot easier to tell them no.
Yes, and saying yes all the time can beat down your mental health. I like how you talked about how other conditions relate to lack of self-confidence. I had no idea. You specifically talked about ADHD, anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
How does that happen? Can you talk more about that? Because I know the research is saying that, but what does a person with ADHD, what does that have to do with their self-confidence?
So I'm going to speak to you from someone with experience. I personally have ADHD. And because of the way that my brain functions, I can spiral in my thoughts. I can start to make up scenarios that might not have even come true. I start to, when I hold on to a thought, I take it and then it just spirals out of control after that. So whenever you have a negative connotation to yourself, or you're telling yourself all of these negative things, you start to become those negative things. You start to automatically train your brain to expect the worst. You start to form negative thoughts before something has even transpired. And that's what I did because I have ADHD as well. So whenever you do have any type of mental illness that's already there, it takes a little bit of extra work, but it's so worth it. You really have to rewire your brain. You have to speak positivity into yourself. One of the things that was very helpful for me was to give myself daily affirmations. At first, I was not comfortable telling myself these affirmations in the mirror because I had already pre-trained my brain to think such negativity about me, the way that I looked, the way that I felt, the things that I was capable of. So I started with writing these affirmations. And once I got comfortable enough with writing the affirmations, then I moved on to saying them out loud, just reading them off of my phone or the journal that I was writing in. And then I challenged myself, because with growth, there comes challenges, right? You challenge yourself to say them in the mirror, to look yourself in the eye and repeat those affirmations so you truly believe it and you embody it. So ultimately, you're rewiring the way that you think, and then it will diminish those symptoms of the ADHD. It will diminish those symptoms of depression because you're putting so much positivity back into yourself.
I love it. So what do you do if you know you're stuck? You can't make that next move, but you don't know what's wrong. You don't know if you have anxiety. You don't know if you have ADHD, but you know something isn't right. Who do you talk to? What are those resources? What's the process?
At that point, that is definitely when you seek outside help, because they can help you gain a different perspective. They can help you see things differently. A lot of cities have local resources. There's government agencies that have resources. There are mental health coaches all out the world. I am a mental health and confidence coach. So I am someone that can help you navigate, that can help you learn what the processes of your brain are, why you're thinking what you're thinking. And then if there needs to be a referral for further assistance, then we can do that. But the key is to, if you're questioning, is to seek help, to seek assistance, to find someone that can support you and guide you in the right way.
So if somebody is online and they're like, okay, I have the symptoms of anxiety or ADHD, do they go to a mental health coach directly, or is there somebody else that they should talk to first?
So it just depends on the severity of what you think your symptoms are. If you think that is something that a mental health coach can help you work through, because a mental health coach, they're not going to prescribe medication. They're not going to necessarily diagnose. They're going to take more of a holistic approach to helping you realize that you have the tools within you to be able to solve whatever's going on and transpiring in your life. Now, if you feel like it's something a little bit more severe, or you feel like that your symptoms might be a little bit more challenging, then I would suggest seeking a psychiatrist's help. And you can do so by, you can Google your local psychiatrist. There is the number, I believe it is, oh goodness, it's escaping me now. It's my ADHD brain. I should have wrote it down, y'all. But I can locate that number and I will get it to you, pop it in the chat for you to call. It is a crisis hotline for all things related mental health. And it doesn't matter where you live in the United States, they can direct you to wherever you need to be. And then of course, government agencies, if you do or cannot afford to pay private pay, or you don't have private insurance, government assistance also provides you with the ability to seek support.
Awesome. Awesome. Those resources are important because sometimes the help you need can be right next door, but you have no idea where to look. So thank you for sharing those resources. So you talked about
Absolutely.
confidence. You talked about getting outside of your comfort zone, being comfortable, being uncomfortable. That is so uncomfortable. But I love the growth that you said that takes place once you do it. You won't even recognize yourself. Are there any parting words that you want to leave our audience with? You had so many great insights about people pleasing, learning to say no, taking care of you. What can our audience do right now to change their confidence?
Right now, I would say what I would suggest for everyone to do is to make a promise to yourself. It starts that small, that simple. Make a promise to yourself, write it down, and then slowly start to write down those steps that you would take to pursue whatever it is you want to pursue, to become the person that you want to be. It all ultimately relies on you having faith in yourself. It's going to be a process, but understand that it has going to take time, and be patient. Oh, patience is key, you guys. Be so patient with yourself. Patience was a hard one for me, but my patience has allowed me to flourish in ways that I never thought imaginable.
Be patient and promise yourself to become the person you want to be. You heard it here from Choniece Stevenson, mental health coach and confidence coach. Thank you for joining us for the Wealth, Health, and Self-Care Summit.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Wow, that was so good. Type in the comments, how do you feel right now? Were you inspired by our speakers? Make sure you follow them on social media so that you can get all the updates. This conference was inspired by my book that I wrote in 2020, How to Find Happiness Again, Holistic Habits That Will Transform Your Life in 30 Days. So if you have this big goal that you want to accomplish, or even a small goal, right? You want to get from where you are to where you want to be on your health journey, you have to be intentional about the moves you make. And many of our speakers talked about the power of journaling and finding out what makes you happy. In this book, we go through our happy list. You can journal and write down all your feelings and your thoughts here so that you can have this as your accountability partner on your journey. But I'm so excited that you are enjoying this. Stay right here, stay put, don't go anywhere, because part 2 is coming up. It will be available in another session. This will go off. I'm turning off part 1. And so I want you to join me for part 2. Thank you again to the Solutions Journalism Network for sponsoring our solutions reporting and for helping us to birth the Wealth, Health, and Self-Care Summit. Make sure you follow us on social media. You can find me at Charlene Reinhart. But if you want to make sure you don't miss any updates, go to wealthywomendaily.substack.com to join us in our challenge. I do challenges throughout the year, whether it be a 30-day challenge to help you find happiness again, or wealth challenges to help you build your portfolio. So join us, wealthywomendaily.substack.com, to join our next challenge and qualify for some of our prizes. I can't wait to see you over there for part 2.